Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is November the 4th, 2024. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Hopefully you got that lasagna today. Hopefully today was very Garfield. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? As for me, like I said, today was good. I say good, but I really should bump that up to a great. I really got some really good news, a little bit of an announcement for myself, a little personal attaboy for your boy. But yeah, we'll get into that. Like I said, work was good. It was solid. Once again, we're in peak, but it seems like we're flowing pretty well. We're mashing up that cardboard, we're mashing that trash, and so far it's been okay. So that's been nice. And I mean, of course, we're on the eve of the election day, so I'm glad that the vibes aren't crazy. They aren't too weird. You know what I mean? So yeah, things feel good. Let's see here. Let's get to that good news before I do the food corner. So I had my yearly review today, and I got some really good news from my supervisor. One, I'm getting a raise, so that's cool, right? Yeah, I love that. Clap it up. Granted, we always get little raises or whatever. Also, to be honest with you, I realized how out of step I've been in terms of like my pay and everything. Like he said the number I was making, I was like, what? Like internally, I was like, huh? And then he's like, yeah, you're not gonna be making this much. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, nice. That's even more money than I thought I was making. Not that it's that much, y'all. I'm still like making pretty much bottom barrel out of everyone in my warehouse, but that's okay. You know what I mean? We do what we gotta do. I've been surviving this long, so I'm happy about it. But speaking of this long, my supervisor proceeds to tell me, like, congratulations on making it 10 years at the company. And I was like, huh? Like, I literally went completely goofy. I was like, yuck? What the yuck? Like, what are you saying? Because I thought I had been here for like maybe 7 years or so. And you know what? Let me like hold out on this because maybe there was a clerical error or something. And, I'm still like kind of pinching myself about it. Not that I'm like, oh, super excited to be some company man at a place for so long and letting them leech me like this. But like, I'm happy that I've stuck to a place this long. You know what I mean? It's very much my style, my way of living to kind of be a tortoise, to kind of be really settled in, but never like this. So I was like, wow, I really have been here this long. That's crazy. And honestly, it's just a number at the end of the day that really doesn't mean that much to me. But the fact that being there 10 years comes with a set of perks, which I like. Apparently, I'm going to be getting a bonus incentive. I was like too excited to ask when that was gonna actually hit, and y'all know I've been needing some money, so like that's dope that I'm gonna get that plus my regular bonus. So I was like, what? That's crazy. And then two, I'm getting my own parking spot. So there you go. Clap it up for that. I'm gonna have a reserved spot. Not necessarily with my name on it, but it's gonna be it's gonna have my number. You know what I mean? It's gonna be mine. I was already told by some of the guys in maintenance. They're like, yeah, don't expect anything nice. And I'm like, yeah, I know it's gonna be pretty far out. Because there's a lot of people at my company that's been there for a while. But that being said, it's cool. It's cool to me. You know what I mean? That I've stuck to something this long. Like I said, this is my longest running job that I've been in. So yeah, I'm happy in that regard. Also, I think this was my best review that I've gotten. I really have been showing up and really, doing the best I can. So that's cool, within reason, within parameters. And it's nice that I have this rapport with my supervisor. Like overall, he likes the work that I do. I like that I'm able to come to him with any of my problems and feel comfortable. Like that's the best you can ask for in a working relationship, especially one where there's not like any kind of union or any kind of like real balancing or whatever. Things are like the Wild West, So I'll take it. I'm happy with that. You know what I mean? So yeah, give myself a pat on the back for that. And heck yeah. Anyway, Food Corner last night. We did a little bit of scran, a little bit of a, I don't want to say it was a survivor meal, but I had a big bowl of ramen, and this was like a loaded bowl. This is why I really can't say that like it was really that scrappy. Like we put in some fried chicken. I had some. I finally used. Oh no, I think I still have one more. I used one of my fish fillets or what have you, and I put in some ham. So I mean, this is like a weird meat lover situation I got going on in this ramen, but extra spicy, very yummy. And then I had like 3 pieces of buttered toast. And I gotta say, yet again, man, I tell y'all, there is just something about a salted buttered bread that it's a chef's kiss every time. I don't know if this is like the peasant in me or something. I don't know, but I realize that I've been really enjoying eating all kinds of salted buttered bread. And yeah, it's been one of my reasons for living lately. I don't know. But yeah, overall the meal was good. It was a bit simple, but happy to have it, happy to eat. And I think that will close out our bit of blogging, for the day. So let's go ahead and do our startup and let's get into some news. Let's talk about some things that are going on. Um, do, 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 do. Ooh, all right. First story comes from the BBC. Pro EU leader wins Moldova election despite alleged Russian meddling. Moldova's pro EU president Maya Sandu has claimed a second term after a tense election runoff as a choice between Europe and Russia. The Moldovan Central Electoral Commission confirmed Sandu's victory on Monday morning. Sandu won 55% of the vote, according to preliminary results, and in a late night speech on Sunday, she promised to be president for all Moldovans. Her rival, Alexander Stoyanoglo, who is backed by the pro-Russian Party of Socialists, had called for a closer relationship to Moscow. Now, this is very similar to the situation that's been going on in Georgia, only it fell towards the more pro-Western half of the country in the situation with Moldova. So, I mean, I guess you can say from a Western perspective, this is good news. It's a win for democracy, if you will. All that good shit or whatever. It really did come down to like, I guess even like expats voting. Turnout was at a 54% high, especially among expat voters at polling stations abroad. Like the race was very close, and it turned out that like that factor is kind of what pushed things over to Sandu. So there's that. And I mean, I guess you can say overall it's good for the goose, good for the gander. I don't know. I mean, if you're asking me, do I think it's a good thing? Yeah, I guess. Like, I mean, I generally don't think that the closer, some of these countries get to Russia, is that necessarily better for them? I don't know. That's really all in the eye of the beholder. I don't have any boots on the ground. I'm just a guy living in fucking Ohio. You know what I mean? But that being said, it seems that overall, people are happy with this, at least from what I'm seeing and reading. So that's good. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I really wanted to pull from here? No, not really. Like I said, I'm not really too hip on, the happenings in Moldova, but, I know this is definitely an area that like Russia is vying for. I know that it's also worth mentioning that it's alleged that like, there were, members of the rival party that were literally like trying to buy the votes, which is obviously not very democratic, if you will. But also just a thing I've kind of noticed in coverage that like, Do I want to root for democracy? Sure. Yes. Do I really believe in democracy these days? No, not really. Like I live in America, and I'm literally about to do election coverage at least a little bit tomorrow, maybe throughout the week. I don't know. We'll see how that fucking goes. But AKA, I'm literally about to watch this all get screwed by the Electoral College. You know what I mean? And that's democracy manifest. That's democracy at its goddamn finest. And it's a bummer. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, so we get to see this tally of all our votes, and then you just see them literally just get flushed. At least it feels that way, right? Like it feels like they're just getting flushed down a drain because overall, gerrymandered county to county, this is how this gets decided. It's not actually how your individual vote is. You know what I mean? It just never feels like your vote really matters. I think that's a real big problem for the average American. Excuse me, American, or just anyone kind of going to vote, because I mean, like I said, we've covered multiple elections in multiple countries and different ways and flavors. You can kind of just see how the powers that be wind up tipping the scales one way or another. So maybe I'm a bit jaded in that regard, but definitely though, when you hear, oh, like they're trying to literally buy your vote, like that shit's crazy. But I mean, once again, I've referenced this, and technically it's a little bit of side news as we kind of segue along here a bit. Elon Musk is literally getting the go ahead from like a Pennsylvania judge, like gave him the go ahead today to like more or less say, yeah, you can continue your weird sweepstakes that you're doing, which I'm still murky. I'm still confused on, because essentially I think Elon Musk's team has kind of come out and said, hey, like it's a sweepstakes, but we're really actually choosing. It's not really a lottery, so you really can't come for us. And we're just like giving them a check or something. And I'm like, are these guys actually getting the money or not? Like, so, I mean, maybe this is a story I might actually wind up having to do real detail on. I really don't like covering that motherfucker. I hate that goddamn South African jumping bean, bro. I'm not a fan of him. I'm not. And I think it's weird if you think he's cool. I think it's weird if you think he's a genius. That is my hill I will live and die on, bro. He did a flamethrower bit one time. And now he's trying to say Robovan instead of a Robovan. Instead of actually building a fucking public transit, he's like, nah, I gotta fucking just make the worst fucking thing for you guys. That's what I'm gonna like bumper stick. Like, come on, man. Like, I boo that man. And yes, technically, yeah, we're booing Russia. Boo. Don't interfere with elections. Boo. Don't be whack. Shit. Speaking of side stories, technically, I think there was some more breaking news that they're sending incineraries. I don't know. Once again, I really haven't. That's some shit on the chopping block, and I was like, am I gonna cover that or not? I don't know. I gotta dig in, and maybe we'll cover it on a later date. Maybe not. But yeah, let's go ahead and move along. Let's get out of Moldova. Let's stop talking about Russia. Let's actually go to Indonesia. We're keeping it international. From The Guardian. At least 10 dead as volcanic eruptions destroy houses in Indonesia. A little bit of volcano talk. At least 10 people have died amid a series of volcanic eruptions on the Indonesian island of Flores, the country's national disaster management has said. The eruption at Mount Lewotobi, Laki-Laki, on Monday night spewed thick brownish ash as high as 2 kilometers or 1.24 miles into the air and onto several villages, burning down houses, including a covenant of Catholic nuns, said Firmin Yosef, an official at the Lewotobi Laki-Laki monitoring post. He said the volcanic material was thrown up to 6 kilometers or 3.7 miles from its crater, blanketing nearby villages and towns with tons of volcanic debris and forcing residents to flee. It's kind of a bar. Anyway, apparently I think there was a previous eruption like on the 27th and then also at top of the year in January. I'm not sure if we've covered that, if that made part of our volcano talk or not, but definitely we're covering it here and now. Let's see. At least 10,000 people had been affected by the eruption in 6 villages of the I'm totally butchering this, Willanagetang district and 4 villages in the Elbura district. Some people have fled to relatives' houses while the local government is preparing schools to use as temporary shelters. And then this is a bit of a fun fact about Lewu Tobi Laki Laki. It is one of a pair of stratovolcanoes in the East Flores district of East Nusa Tenggara province, known locally as the husband Laki Laki, means man and wife mountains. Its mate, Lewu Tobi Prenum, oh gosh, excuse me, Perinum Pan or woman. I feel like I've listened to a song that literally made me cry about these mountains. Or I feel like I have, man. And it's just literally a song where they're like, the song is like, it's this man with a ukulele just singing about how much he loves this other volcano. And then, he has his eruption and then ceases, and then she has her eruption and then ceases. And this is very cute. And it's a very, very adorable song. It's giving like Bubbles. I don't know if there's like that same undertone there or not, if you know what I'm saying. But either way, I'm getting off track. Obviously very unfortunate there was a loss of life here. But that being said, still any kind of eruption like this is very fascinating. So I'm very drawn to cover it, talk about it a bit. Hopefully, people are, in sheltered, safe places now. And, we can kind of get to the recovery phase of this disaster, this situation at hand. But yeah, we'll go ahead and close all our volcano talk there. Actually, one more fun fact. Why not? Lewu Tobi Laki Laki is one of 120 active volcanoes in Indonesia, an archipelago of 280 million people. The country is prone to earthquakes, landslides, and volcanic activity because it sits along the Ring of Fire, a horseshoe-shaped series of seismic fault lines around the Pacific Ocean. So there you go, closing out with some volcano fun facts there. Not that was really any kind of light news, but we are going to go to some, a bit of brutal local news in the sense of this is Ohio related, but I felt compelled to cover it just because of the subject matter and the fact that it is local. Even though I'm saying this, I'm reading from the BBC, a British broadcasting media outlet. Ex-police officer found guilty of Andre Hill murder. A former Ohio police officer who shot and killed a black man as he walked out of a garage 4 years ago in Columbus was found guilty of murder on Monday. Adam Coy, who is white, faces life in prison for fatally shooting Andre Hill, 47, in December of 2020. Mr. Hill had been carrying a mobile phone and keys when Coy shot him 4 times. Coy, 48 years old, told jurors he thought Mr. Hill was holding a silver revolver. Which, I'm sorry, you're never going to convince me that the combination of those items is what convinces you that this is what it is. That like this is like, oh, it was a gun. Like, no, man, it was a thing of things in his hand. Like, at the end of the day, this man did everything that you asked him to do. And you were scared. And I get it. You're a person who's putting your life on the line of duty, yada, yada, yada. But you are trained. You are trained to handle these situations for a reason, so that people do not lose their lives for no fucking reason. And at the end of the day, you failed your training and someone died. So, like, you're responsible for that. Like, it's not, oh, I'm so sorry, I messed up, I oops-a-daisy. Let's just read a quote from him. "I thought I was going to die," he said, testifying he realized he made his mistake when he rolled over Mr. Hill's body and saw there was no weapon. "I knew at that point I made a mistake," he said. "I was horrified." Corey had responded to a complaint about someone inside a running vehicle at about 1:30 in the morning when he first encountered Mr. Hill sitting inside an SUV. The former officer said Mr. Hill seemed dismissive and that he was suspicious when Mr. Hill went to a nearby house and knocked on the door before entering through the garage. An investigation later found that the house belonged to a friend of Mr. Hill's. Coy used a flashlight to spot Mr. Hill in the garage and ordered to come out. Police body camera footage showed Mr. Hill then come out of a garage holding a mobile phone in his left hand, his right hand not visible, second before he was gunned down by Coy. almost 10 minutes went by before officers at the scene gave Mr. Hill medical attention, which is crazy that that amount of time has to go by. You were coherent enough to roll him over, but not to try any life-saving measure. You just blew, boom, 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 and that's it. Oh, I fucked up. Cool, you understand that you fucked up. But once again, you do have to provide at least some level of life-saving measures. But it's crazy that time and time fucking again, I've covered and seen this shit where they just go, oops, man, I fucked up. Oh, fuck, man. Because all these motherfuckers can do is think about themselves. That's all they're doing this whole fucking time. And once again, do I understand that as a person who's going through a fucking shift that they get through? Of fucking course. But once again, my job does not involve me with there's no lives on my fucking hands, all right? I wasn't given some license to kill by the fucking state, okay? At the end of the day, these motherfuckers were, and they failed to do their jobs. And now someone is gone. They're just dead now. And it's like, oh man, I feel so bad about it. Well, you should go to jail about it, brother. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm not sorry at all. Fuck you, man. You know what I mean? I'm happy to at least see some justice here, I guess. Like I said, normally this is not a story I cover just because it is before my purview in terms of podcasting. I started in 21. This is something that happened in 2020. I did no coverage on it really. I don't even, if I'm being 100% honest with you, before today, if I was even that aware about it. But that being said, it fits the parameters of what I tend to want to cover here. And, as I'm covering it, I'm reminded why, because it's infuriating. It is upsetting. It is sad because I know that this is something I'm going to come back to you guys again with. There's not going to be any changes. We've been talking about Breonna Taylor. There's still more to come about that shit. With Tyree Nichols, the same shit. It's the same shit over and over and over again. And, as a person of color, this is something that is always on my mind. I literally am driving to the fucking gym and I realize, oh, fuck, there's a goddamn cop behind me. And it's like, maybe for the average person, if you have nothing in your car, you're not doing anything illegal. What? There's nothing to worry about. You're being paranoid for no reason. It's like, brother, no the fuck I'm not, dude. You can just be chilling, minding your fucking business, and you can get your brains blown out. You can just get fucking ended by a guy with a fucking badge. And guess what? There's going to be people backing that motherfucker to the hilt. And the system backs these motherfuckers to the hilt. So, once again, I'm always happy to cover any kind of justice served. You know what I mean? It's once again, it's at least something. But, we'll see, at least what the sentence looks like or whatever. But yeah. All right. I guess, I'm trying to see if I missed anything. I know motherfuckers love to come for me when I get these things wrong. Kind of noticed that's a fucking trend. I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh. But since I've started this, there's every once in a blue moon, I'll get some fucking, I don't want to say it, but they'll be like, hey man, just so you know, it's not maybe as bad as you think, or maybe you're getting this wrong, or maybe you're interpreting this wrong. And it's like, brother, out of all the things I talk about, I love that you guys got to make sure that I get this right, this part right. All right, okay. I know I'm being petty, but I'm also just annoyed with things, systematic things. Let's just say that. All right, let me take my last fucking break. I really thought I was just gonna breeze through that, but no, I didn't. Let me take my last break, and we'll get to some sad news, some somber news, and we'll close it out there. Like I said, I'm pretty sure though there will be sentencing there. But yeah, a bummer all the same. And mea culpa if I get it wrong. Shit, you can go fucking click the fucking article yourself if you want to read it. And sound off in the comments. Be that guy if you like. Fuck. Anyway. All right. Technically, that one was from Mr. Jones. From the Associated Press, Quincy Jones, music titan who worked with everyone from Frank Sinatra to Michael Jackson, dies at 91. The multi-talented music titan, whose vast legacy ranged from producing Michael Jackson's historic Thriller album to writing prize-winning film and television scores and collaborating with Frank Sinatra, Ray Charles, and hundreds of other recording artists, has died at 91. Jones' publicist Arnold Robinson says he died Sunday night at his home in the Bel Air section of Los Angeles, surrounded by his family. Jones was to have received an honorary Academy Award later this month, which, I mean, he, deserved in spades. He's been a part of so many projects, so many genres of music. Like, I heard someone breaking it down once again on the BBC, and I was like, yo, they're naming genres I had never even heard of before. This man is a part of bebop, and I'm not talking cowboy, bro. The man was a legend, and was a part of hit after hit after hit after hit with so many artists. I know I can I try not to do this too much on the pod, but I've definitely referenced We Are the World a lot with my friends. Obviously it was a very moving moment. I think people thought it was doing a lot back then. And, it was a moment. It was a vibe. But, needless to say, Quincy Jones was the producer, the force behind that, the glue that really made that shit happen. You had Bono, you had Michael Jackson, you had Bob Dylan, you had so many motherfucking people holding hands. We are the world, we are the children. Anyway, banger shit. It's the type of shit that I think Chris Martin from Coldplay thinks he's doing by himself. But he's not. He just made Yellow, and that's cool. But motherfuckers like that, and that's a prime example too, because motherfuckers like that think they're doing something, but meanwhile behind the scenes, motherfuckers like Quincy Jones actually are. You know what I mean? So definitely giving credit where credit is due. As a man without a producer on my project, I wish. I mean, granted, different things entirely. We're talking music to podcasting, but whatever. But Quincy Jones has an amazing life, has been through trials and tribulations. It's crazy that he went from being in a gang to literally being touched by music and really embracing that and using that as his magic carpet. They go through a lot of just his life and times in this article, if you'd like to read it. Obviously, none of my dictation is going to do it any kind of justice. But definitely a life well lived. You know what I mean? But would you say, oh, is Quincy Jones a perfect man? No. But is anyone? No. So, definitely a pass with, like I said, highs and lows, but definitely a legendary life. And I felt like I would definitely be remiss if I didn't at least mention him on this podcast and, just give it up to him. So, hopefully he's making music in the great beyond now. But, definitely just wanted to give my flowers to him for that, for sure. And then that's where I'll close it out for the day. I know I went a little bit long, a little long-winded, got a little heated, classic episode, classic me. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to my trials and my tribulations and my triumphs today. Okay. All right. And if you'd like to add to that, I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/IsaiahNews, become a newsie. I can shout you out at the top of the month, plug your project if you'd like. Really, it's just a tip jar. It's really much appreciated. Sometimes it is, and in a utopian world, that is what I'm going to use to build this brand that we call the Newsstand. How it's working right now behind the scenes, it's definitely been a little bit of couch cushion money. It's definitely helped out the living effort. It's allowing me to sometimes stay afloat, make it through weeks like this. That economy, eh? But yeah, I really just appreciate just you guys showing the love financially, but That's okay if you're just showing it by just listening. That's obviously the best. That's obviously, I love that. That's to my lurkers. That's to my clickers who just, they come in for like a minute or so in the dip. I love that. It's okay. You're not hearing that, but my heart, my vibe is with you. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials you're on. Please subscribe to the YouTube. That really helps out a lot. That's another free way to help out the show. And let's see. You leave a like, leave a comment. Sharing is caring. So yeah, that's really it. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.